All of us are more powerful than we think we are. You don't need anyone to do these things. You just need to believe in yourself and trust the process. Increase your vibration and use your heart. So vibration, I think that needs to come from within you, hey? In what you believe, so your blockages. I've experienced a lot of out-of-body experiences when I was a kid, and there was also the time that I saw a UFO with some friends of mine. I just realized that the world has got so much more than we are led to believe. I asked to see the universe, I asked to see the multiverse, the knowledge. I saw a lot of dimensions, and there's a lot. There's the dimension that shows creation. I saw that. There are no words on this planet that can describe that feeling. There's no fear out there. There's absolutely nothing to be afraid of. You can channel any entity or loved one as a spirit guide. We are here to play the game of life. Everything that we're not taught is on purpose, to find our purpose. It's video game. That's just the simplest way that I could put this whole thing out.
Welcome, dear listeners, to the Oliver Schirach Show, and welcome to another episode, or the new episode for you if you're a new listener. I'm Oliver, your host, and today we have Colin Fransch from South Africa, Botswana at the moment. Colin is sharing his unique experiences of the spiritual and the personal discoveries, despite that he grew up in a Roman Catholic environment in South Africa where this spirituality and paranormal beliefs and the mysticality were discouraged. Colin records his encounters with UFOs, out-of-body experiences, and synchronicities that have shaped his understanding of reality. He details his practices of meditation, affirmations, and belief systems that led him to a spiritual awakening out-of-body experiences. Seeing behind the veil of illusion. In this conversation, we delve into topics such as astral projection, the nature of coincidences, ancient geometries, and the simulation theory of existence. Colin emphasizes the importance of believing in oneself and trusting one's intuition, increasing our vibration as keys for unlocking these extraordinary experiences he had, because he also says it's not him which is so special. We all are more than we believe we are. Just have to believe in ourselves, work with our beliefs, with our blockages, with our traumas to unlock an extraordinary life. So welcome to Colin. Okay, and there we go. We are trying to get this video interview running with Colin Fransch in Botswana, Africa, and me in Herning, Denmark. Welcome to the Oliver Schirach Show. We have some delays, so please excuse us for that. And we're giving it a try. I had a really deep call with Colin after he mentioned some very interesting things on one of my episodes on YouTube. And so I would like you to get to know Colin and his very deep experiences. And he's not he's not on a classical spiritual path where he goes through all these classes and knows all these wordings and phrases. He's doing it by experiencing and wants to share what he has learned and seen, experienced, felt. And so let's see if he hears me in real time or in delay.
Yeah, there's still a bit of a delay, but I'll just pick it up. We'll just bang it back and forth.
So welcome, Colin. Welcome to the show. And I normally ask my guests how would they describe themselves, so I get a feeling in 3 words, adjectives, and why they choose those words.
First of all, thank you for inviting me onto your show. So yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it up when you mentioned my name and where I'm staying. And yeah, I'm in Africa, everyone. Hi. Yeah. I have a computer science and cinematography background. I've always been fascinated about these things. And after that, I started diving into the whole music frequencies and sound because I wanted to create sounds and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've experienced was probably gearing me up for what was to come, in terms of what's manifested in my life. And yeah, so I could say I've been through a lot growing up, and I've learned quite a lot of things reflecting back to my younger years and, since I was a kid, why things were happening. Because, I think my life has been riddled with paranormal activity, if you want to call it that. Um, yeah. Is there anything else you'd want me to elaborate on?
Like, how would you describe yourself as a person in 3 words? Active, curious, or whatever.
Um, yeah, active, curious, and definitely a adventurous. Like I'm always open to suggestions, and I would never ever put anyone down because of their claims. Like if somebody says, "Hey, I can do this," I would, look into it. I think Einstein quoted something towards those lines where he said that any fool can know. The point is to understand, So those things resonate with me. And yeah, so I've heard about all these abilities and astral projection and source, and like from so many different sources on YouTube. And, I think a lot of them, from what I understand, say the same things. There's not much different from what they say. It's the ones that are different that normally catches my attention. So I'm always into mystery and uh, fantasy and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Okay, so basically like curious, adventurous, and mysterious.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much why I'm here talking to you today.
Yeah, but then I get a good feeling. Have you always
Yeah.
been like that? I mean, you started with saying from childhood you had paranormal experiences, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. But I grew up in a Catholic environment, Roman Catholic. So I didn't tell anybody much about what I was experiencing, because either in here in Africa, if you start talking about things that are beyond physics, they take you straight to a doctor. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, let me hear you out, child. Oh, that's wonderful. No, no, no. Tell me. No, they're like, come. I think Colin's crazy. You know what I mean? Just go. And they'll do it in a way that you don't even suspect it. My mom took me to a doctor once, and she was like, I want you to meet a friend of mine. Take me to this friend of mine. I get there and I realize, she's like, no, 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 doctor, here he is. Just talk to him. So that's the kind of approach we have here in Africa, And like I've experienced a lot of out of body experiences when I was a kid. I didn't know what they were. I didn't even think about it. And there was also the time with sleep paralysis. I didn't even know what that was, but that freaked me out. It was in my teens, and I experienced it once again when I was in my 20s. And yeah, wow, there's a lot of things. And there was also the time that I saw a UFO, with some friends of mine. And I think that sparked my curiosity once we started getting YouTube. I started Googling these things because Africa is kind of limited to information. We don't, we're not exposed, and everything is probably censored. You know what I'm saying? So it's very difficult to understand or learn these things and do research. But hey, YouTube is here, and a lot of these things were surfacing up, and it made me realize and question a lot of my beliefs as well.
I can see you go very fast through this experience of childhood. Uh,
Yeah.
what did you experience as a kid that your mother felt she needs to go to a doctor?
Well, yeah. So here's the thing. I learned how to gauge my parents' activities in terms of what I can tell and what I can't, just by looking at how, they project their feelings or their beliefs. So I couldn't, you know, tell them all these other things because they didn't understand it. And my parents are not, scientists and very, they just, no, that's crazy. maybe you just need some milk or something, and you'll be okay. So I didn't speak much about these things to them. I just tried to understand that maybe, and especially deja vu and recurring dreams and all these kind of things was plaguing me. I'm going to use the word plaguing me because it's happened throughout my entire childhood, all the way up to adulthood. And it was strange because there was a lot of times where I would have a dream, and it would be a recurring dream of people, either somebody in a car accident or somebody going for an operation, but I could never see who they were, but it was a recurring dream. And only afterwards, when these things actually did happen, I was like, oh, so that was the dream that I kept having all the time. And at the time, it didn't really phase me out. Or, yeah.
So the dreams you had were basically showing you the future, or what was it?
Yeah,
Like a
kind of
real future, or just like the
like,
like the energy of a future?
I think maybe that's what you could call it. I think that because from what I understand now, I could reiterate on the whole thing and explain what I've seen because of what I've experienced. And I could tell you that, especially now that we understand that time doesn't exist in the spiritual realm, and our futures are all, mapped out for us and different, right here, and everything is just together in the same space from what I've learned. And it's not just not from what I've learned, but also from what I've seen, what has been projected from my, and so I like to believe that whatever it was signals coming from the future, transferred into my subconscious or whatever you want to call it, for me to see these things in the dreamland, the dream world or dream dimension. So I'd like to think of it that way. I mean, that's the easiest way that I could explain it. I'm sure there's a lot more to it, regarding the quantum field and quantum physics, and so
We
yeah,
don't have to go into the
yeah,
physics and the exact.
yeah,
I'm looking more experience as the feeling is like you more experience the things. So it's more
yes,
like the feeling, the experience, the knowledge you gained through that, or like how did you feel as a kid? I mean, you say your parents didn't understand it. Sometimes you listen to some podcasts or talks, or when I have talks with people that either their parents' mother a lot of time or their father knew or had similar talents and just kept it, low, especially because of the age. You said you're older than me, so you're around 50, I think you said.
yeah. I'm 49.
I'm 46 almost. So it's kind of like also to know the generations, right, of our
Yeah,
parents, um, where they might have understood it, but they didn't want to be seen. And it sounds like your parents didn't really understand it at all. It was not about let's keep it away because our neighbors and our society, our church will expel us and we will not be part of it anymore. It was like more
yeah.
you were different. Do you have sisters or are you a
Yeah,
single?
I do have sisters. I've got four sisters. They're all younger than I am, and
And do they have
yeah.
similar? Do they have similar talents, or are you the odd one? Are
Uh,
you the black sheep?
yeah, I am the sheep, the black one. Yes, I got the sweater to prove it right here. So yeah,
So you didn't. Yeah, it's not like something running in the family.
no.
It's.
Well, you have to. You, well, we came from humble beginnings. We didn't have much growing up, and like I am mixed race. I'm half Greek, and my mom's from South Africa, and I grew up mostly, when I was in South Africa, with the mixed race community. I don't want to say the word that we normally use in South Africa because in South Africa, it's the word is okay, but I don't want people commenting, no, that's derogatory. You cannot use those words. So, but you understand what I mean. Yeah. So coming from that community, we don't, look into the esoteric realms or believe in those things at all. We only go to church every Sunday and we sing hymns and we praise, Jesus, God, and that's pretty much it. And I've always been doing that with my grandmother when I'd go and visit her after I left South Africa. I think I left when I was 7 years old. So but I kept going back to visit my grandparents until they passed on. And, my granny always used to hold my hand and tell me that I'm special and that I'm a hero and that I am going to save people. And I used to like wonder, especially what resonated with me a lot was her saying that, that we should love our enemies. And as a kid, you're like trying to figure out, how does that make sense? If somebody upsets you, you want to, lash out at them. But today, everything is just a lot more clearer to me. So, yeah. Um,
So so
Parents,
so when I listen to you there,
yeah.
as it sounds like your grandmother was perhaps connected to something more than your
Oh,
parents and sisters.
well, yeah, she's like, I mean, with a name like Mary, she was very holy, you know what I mean? And she always loved helping in the communities. If she didn't have money, she would have money, but she would give it away to somebody that needed it more. She had a heart of gold. Everybody knew her in the community. And she was really big into the church. If she could go to church every day, she would, And my grandfather loved her because, and then she always used to tell me that she was going to become a nun if my grandfather didn't meet her. And there's a whole new story, a whole big story to that. And yeah, she used to take me to church and I used to walk with her because, it wasn't that far. It was maybe about a kilometer or two. And we used to walk to church and walk back. And she was very well reciprocated in the community and everybody knew her, And, if I was like walking around, she would be like, that's my grandson over there. Do you have a daughter or somebody that's single? She like tried to pimp me out back then. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
she,
Okay. Yeah. So
yeah. So my grandfather, just a quick one, just my grandfather believed in a lot more. And he was the one that got me into comics, and he gave me his collection, which was like the first issue Spider-Man. And he had like a whole bunch of these things. He taught me how to draw. He did all these things, and he believed in UFOs because he had many stories and ghosts that he would see on the road. You know what I mean? So he doesn't want me to talk in front of my granny because I think it's a bit of it doesn't really align with what she believes in. You know what I mean? Especially the UFOs and stuff like that. So he's always used to like pull me to the side and say, Colin, let me tell you something. These UFOs, I've seen them. Don't tell your granny. So yeah, I mean,
wow, that's
and
your
he had a telescope.
grandfather.
Yeah, and he used to watch the stars at night. He had a telescope, everything. So yeah.
And that's what time period are we talking here? I mean, grandfather,
Wow, this
that must
is
be like 1920, no, 1940s he saw these things. 1930s, probably.
probably even, yeah, yeah, probably. He's seen a lot, and he used to tell me these stories. Like I used to just hang out with him, and he would go on about all these wonderful tales. Like I always thought, like the way he would describe it, it was like I was literally there. With detail, immense detail, and he'd use this whole technique of like talking like it's a movie. You know what I mean? He'd go into like these different characters, and yeah. Um, Maybe that's why I decided to get into cinematography after computer science. So yeah, yeah, he,
Yeah, the storytelling part.
yeah. So and I think a lot of these things, like I believe now that my soul kind of prepared these things for me in a way for me to understand certain things from what I've seen. I don't know if that makes sense. After my activation. I'm not sure why people call it an activation because, I feel like our pineal gland or our third eye has been active and is always active. It's the vibration that's not allowing it to work at its full potential from what I've learned and what I believe and what I know. So yeah, I mean, we can talk about that another time.
We can talk now or later.
Oh, okay.
Just what
All right.
for the listeners. For the listeners, we already agreed to have 3, 4, 5 episodes because
Okay.
from the first talk we had, that we opened so many cans of worms that I think we
Yeah.
keep on.
Yeah.
So I like to go deeper. I just listened to some other episodes today from former guests, which were on other podcasts, and I felt like it's not going deep enough because I got to know these people on my podcast in a deeper way. So now I want to enable that depth for my guests to expand, right? And
Okay.
and so for me is just to try to go back. I try to really find out who is this Colin guy from childhood. So now you have a grandfather which has seen UFOs and actually shares that with you, and he realizes you like it. You like these stories. Either you like the stories or belief, and you have a grandmother which is very spiritual or religious, very religious, but with this energy, really this love and compassion energy, right? It's like the positive part of the religion. And then you have parents which do not really understand, and siblings which do not really understand. So, and then you were talking about the sleep paralysis, but only 2 episodes, as I understand. Out of body experiences, deja vu, reoccurring dreams. So do you remember anything like? Do you have like a pre-birth memory? I mean, some people talk about that. I've never talked with anyone like have a dream of like how it was before you came to Earth, or is it like from kindergarten? What happened with you? Like what are the weirdest or most special experiences?
What's weird, and what I do remember is I remember being born. That's very weird, like the sensation. It's a really weird thing, and I remember pretty much everything that's happened in my life. I have a photographic memory, and it's profound. The way I feel like it's like on steroids. You know what I mean? Especially my deja vu encounters, or my it's and all my deja vu encounters were like a year apart. Like I started understanding that this happened a year ago, or this was sent to me a year ago, and a lot of that made sense in terms of movies that would come out. Like, but hold on, I've watched this before, and I know kind of what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And people are like, no, you haven't watched it. I'm like, but I can tell you what's going to happen. So either they think I'm doing a magic trick or whatever it is, and like something, it's just like I just know what's going to happen. So that kind of puzzled certain people, but I understand how that works now for me personally. And it was interesting because people thought, like, when I would tell them, no, I've watched this, and you've sent me this picture before on social media, I've seen it, and then I asked them, have you sent this to me before? And they're like, no, and they can swear by it. And I remember these things. And what I do remember is pictures that I really singled out from all the others, that was different about them and very unique. And those are the ones that resonated with me in terms of me remembering from my deja vu experiences. And then I started, like, maybe 8 years ago, started Googling, trying to figure out how deja vu works, because it was just so intense. Like, I just remember everything, and there were certain things like a woman's shirt, like she had this cat glitter on it, and I would look at it and I'd be like, that's strange looking sweater. So these are the things that caught my attention, that I still remember. And then now I'm here, experience the same situation or the occurrence, and I see the woman with the cat T-shirt, with the bedazzled T-shirt, and I'm like, I remember this woman, and she was from Germany, and she spoke with an accent, and she was the only one, so that stuck out. And that, and pictures as well, social media and events that have happened, they were just so, yeah.
So, but these things sound like you were a grown-up person. Did you have
Well,
that also as a kid?
as a
I
kid,
mean,
like,
social
just
media didn't exist when you were a kid. I mean, not
no,
for
that's
me at
true.
least.
No, not for me too. Yeah, but like, I've met the person, or they seemed very familiar to me, like before YouTube or before internet, and I'll be like, hold on, how do I, like, do I know you? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I found that me speaking to them was like right off the bat, like we just click, because I kind of knew who they were. You know what I mean? Just off the bat, I don't know if that's happened to you where you just feed off the person's energy. I think maybe that's the right word to say. And like I've met you before, I'm just downloading the data back into my head so that we can, you know, um, yeah. So I believe there's a lot of things out there that I didn't believe in before as a kid or growing up and as an adult, and I just realized that the world has got so much more than we are led to believe, and yeah.
Yeah, so what are some of the things people told you they don't exist, but you experienced as a, let's say, kid, teenager, early adult, young adult?
It wasn't so much of not existing, it was so much of us believing what they wanted us or what we were led to believe is real and honest. So it's not about us looking for anything else because we didn't learn anything else. Everything came way after with internet and YouTube, and you start going down that rabbit hole. It's like a blue pill, red pill kind of thing, like in the Matrix. And the for me the whole Matrix thing was on YouTube and Synchronicities and intuition, um, because I for a very long time didn't understand anything. I was just set in my beliefs, and that's what we were taught. So we didn't question anything. It's just strange things that would pop up, like I was going to say, like, I don't want to tread on people's toes, but there's a lot of things that we're not taught that I believe that we should have been. But I believe that everything that we're not taught is on purpose to find our purpose in a way. If I have to reflect on my whole journey, you know what I mean? And, that comes with the simulation theory, all those other things. And we are here to experience life and all those kind of things. So to me, for what I believe is that because of what I've seen and what I know through logic and synchronicity and intuition, especially intuition. A lot of it is intuition. Um, that there is so much more out there for us to experience. And we need to set aside our ego and our biases, and believe that there's more and accept. And then I think things just start making more sense because you have synchronicities throughout your entire life since you're a little kid, is from what I can reflect back to. So that would mean that to me, when people say that your pineal gland, it needs to be decalcified, I think, the whole fluoride, and I don't know what other things they talk about, but I've been brushing my teeth with fluoride since I was a kid, all the way right up today. Only recently I came across a fluoride thing. I'm like, hold on, but why? What happened? How come I've been doing this, but I still experience these things? And so that made me understand that, yeah, so that maybe is just something that people believe in. And, what you think about, you bring about. If you firmly believe that that is it, then I suppose then that's how it shall be, as above, so below. You know what I mean? Um, but I can say that the fluoride thing hasn't affected me because I didn't even know about it until now, you know, and I've been drinking tap water. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's another um, other theory around the tap water, right? How it's losing energy because it goes through all the pipes and
Yeah.
is treated with all these different chemicals. But it does also taste stale a lot of times.
Yeah.
Compared to like a really nice fresh water, it has a different taste.
Yeah.
Now, you talk a lot about these different activations. What happened when you were activated or awakened? Did you have like an experience which like shook your beliefs,
Yeah.
like a one-time experience, or was it like several experiences over
Several
per certain
times.
time?
It was several times because I wanted to understand what I saw. The first time I saw, I was confused. So I wanted to go back there. And I kept going back there because I kept asking. Yeah, you have to state what you want to see when you astral project, and then just wait when it happens, because it doesn't happen right away. It will happen certain times. You can't just close your eyes and channel. It doesn't work like that for me. As I've seen others do it, I'm still amazed at how they can just do it right away, because I understand that it works with vibration as well. And for me, something switched on inside of me, and I think maybe that is just got to do with maybe the DNA that they claim is junk, and the vibration is increased. Like, it's become so intense. At the beginning, it was very subtle, kind of like a Star Wars. It felt like that to me. And then it started becoming more and more intense as I kept meditating, and I wanted to learn, because when it happened to me, I was blown away. And up till today,
So what
like,
what happened?
uh,
Where were you,
I
and what happened? You said now meditation. So it's
yeah,
for me, it seems like you started doing certain practices like meditation or journaling or
yeah,
taking ayahuasca. I have no idea. And then
no, yeah,
something happened. And
yeah. I
where were
didn't.
you in life? Have you been 20,
Um,
30s, 40s?
no, 40s. 40s is when I started experiencing all these things, and things started making sense. And what happened, I think, was this whole synchronicity thing. And I started realizing the gifts that we're bought, and any things that pop up on YouTube and all these kind of things. I used to, push it to the side and think, that's not for me. I don't know what this is. Why is it coming up? And I didn't understand these things at the beginning. But then I started watching all these documentaries on UFOs and stuff like that, because I wanted to try and figure out what I saw when I was, in the 90s. I think it was 96, 97. I can't remember the exact time. But that led me watching all these things, because I believed that there was more. So it led me down a rabbit hole in terms of synchronicities and all these other things. Videos kept popping up on YouTube, and things that I would think about would just pop up on my Facebook or whatever it is. Like, if I wanted to know where somebody was, like, I would think about them and I would see them. Oh, there they are. They're in the background right there. So, and then they'd be like, no, I wasn't there. But I was like, yeah, I saw you. There was a lot of weird things like that happening. And then it became so intense where, like, my AC started switching on and changing modes. And then my TV would switch on. So, coming from a Christian religious background, you throw words like ghost in there. You know what I mean? That's a ghost or something, places. And my cousin was staying with me at the time, and he just ran out. He was like, ooh, I can feel it, the down his spine, and he ran out. But I know what that is now, as opposed to back then.
So what was
And
it?
that was obviously my higher self, or conscious up there, God sending me these angel numbers or messages or whatever you want to call them, to let me know, certain things. And I think the things that it did were messages to send to me, that because I always had this thing in my head where, if you come to my house, I would like to know. And it was always at the back of my mind who you are and if you're a good person. And then I didn't realize that my TV and all these things were messages to make me understand who these people were. you know this is going to sound crazy, but today I can, I fully support what I'm saying because of what I've experienced. And then I started watching more, and something came up about don't believe in coincidences. So I started watching a documentary on that, on the whole coincidence thing, and this is not a coincidence. So I started believing that there are no such thing as coincidences. And then it started showing me videos about maybe on the universe and how things work and how everything's put together. I would never Google those things. It wasn't my interest. That would pop up, and I watched them. And then I watched, the observer effect and how particles flow, the wave, and when it collapses. The whole. That's another topic. And then quantum physics. That's also another topic. I started learning about that, and then I also started learning about psychology and how the mind works. Not detailed things, just basic things like neuroplasticity. I learned a lot about that and how the mind and the videos that were popping up. Here's the thing. They were in shows that had my father's name, like Alan Watts. I would never Google anything about philosophy. I didn't understand those things. So I started watching that. And he spoke about, mana and prana and all these other things. And like, I didn't even know what those things were. And Maya, I was like, I don't know what Maya is. Maya, I used to watch as a kid, a little bee that flies around. That's what I remember. So that came, then
you have that one?
Maya, yeah, Maya. I watched that as a
That's
kid.
a
So
Dutch or German
yeah,
cartoon.
that's the one. You watched it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
Swiss,
that's
right? I'm Swiss.
yeah.
It's
Yeah, it makes sense.
I didn't know it got all the way to Africa, but
It was here, and it was dubbed in like 3 different languages. We could watch it in Afrikaans, English, and Xhosa. Xhosa, you have to say it with a click. So yeah, we pretty much got most of the Dutch shows. Like what was that other one as well, with the detective with a long coat? It was a Dutch actor, because you could tell with the dubbing. Was it Kojak or something? I can't remember. But anyway, there was so much shows that we used to get. And anyway, to go back to what I was saying, so my mom's name would pop up, and this would be a TED talk about how neuroplasticity. My mom's name's Stephanie, and her name would pop up as a recommended suggestion, first one, and then maybe 3 down the line you would see another one. So my mom, my sister's names, my father's name, and there's yeah. So my dog's name, my cat's name, this was just too much, you know what I mean, for me to just shrug under the rug and consider it as a coincidence. And everything that I watched was based on spirituality, psychology, and science, physics. And yeah, so that was the first step into it. And then I came across what was this thing? Frequencies and cymatics. I learned about cymatics. I didn't know anything about cymatics. I didn't even know what it was, but I learned that. I learned about there's like a uptake of fluid. I don't know what it's called, from the top and the bottom. It's probably a kundalini, but I saw the scientific thing. It's got. Here's the funny thing: the uptake of thing is had my initial CSF as a recommendation. So I watched it, and I learned there's liquid. There's a flow of liquid that goes up, and then the milk and the honey mixes, which is from your pituitary gland and your pineal gland. I didn't know those things, and I was like, why am I watching things about milk and honey? First time I didn't know. So I thought I needed to drink milk and put honey in it. You know what I mean? I didn't know it was metaphorically, the glands and the whole flow of the liquids. I'm drinking milk and honey every night, thinking this is what I need to do. So, yeah, it obviously wasn't that. It was just me to understand how these things work together. So that was something that I laughed about when I realized it's not the milk and the honey that I've been buying that I need to mix. It's inside you. And this is where I also have a problem with certain guys out there, where certain gurus, and they put fear into people that you don't need. There's no fear out there. There's absolutely nothing to be afraid of. And they will tell you that, you come into this world with nothing and be happy that you don't have anything and people won't give you any. I'm like, but hold on a second. We came into this world with everything that we need that's already inside us. We just need to activate it. And this is why I say that the only thing that for me, your pineal gland is always active. And I can explain why I believe that. Because it's just your vibration that increases. For me, like I said, it sounded like a Star Wars wand. Like, what is this thing inside me? And it's like a vibration that's inside. You cannot see it outside, or my fingers don't vibrate. But if I touch you, you will feel like vibrations coming out of my fingers or something. So it started like Star Wars, and then after a couple of months, it just every time it kept increasing, to a point where it feels like I'm like, I don't know if you've watched The Flash, the lightning that comes up from the feet when he wants to run, the superhero character. It feels like lightning inside of me now. This is, at this point.
so
And
what did you do to to actually increase the? You say the pineal gland is always active. It's just the vibration
Yes.
of your body, of your
Yeah.
emotions or your thoughts,
Yeah.
or
Well, no, I don't think it's emotions or thoughts or anything. Emotion, from what I've understood, like the wheel of emotion. I don't know if you've heard of what the wheel of emotion is. It's got like those 8 petals, and there's different parts of your how you would feel, your state of mind and the vibrations. So it's for me, it's all about. I don't know exactly. I don't have all the science behind this, but I can tell you about what I'm experiencing. So is energy, like I can feel it, especially from my feet, like it's like crackling, like it like crackles inside of me. Especially when I'm laying down and I'm not moving around, then it's more profound. It's like it's super intense. Like I feel like it's like a like you know what I mean? Like if I have to put a sound to what I'm experiencing, and it's really intense. I can feel it from my hands, and then I get all these little white dots all over my hands, like there's, you know what I mean? And also on my chest, there's like white dots when my energy gets really high. I don't know why it does that. Like I said, I'm just saying. I've noticed these things when it gets to these, because I started taking a good look at what is happening and recording. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to understand things, and also my intuition would show me videos and make me understand, like the whole CSF thing, the liquid. I was like, this is my. I still have the video, the clip. Like I recorded. I started taking note and documenting things that were just way too much of a coincidence. You know what I mean? So, and I know that they're not. And so my vibration and this ringing sound, I've always had it, but it sounded like it's gone higher. I just like a like in my ear. People say it's got to do with your pineal. I don't know. I just know that it's there, and it's there right now, and it's been with me for years. Like if I don't think about it, it doesn't bother me. Like nah, it's not bothering me, but I can hear that
yeah,
it's
it's just
there.
like the the B sound. But now
Yes, and
now you
and it goes
explain.
high. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I sometimes had it, and I mean, a few years back, I don't know, 5, 6, or 10 years back, I don't remember
yeah,
when, I was like, oh shit, I'm getting old, right? My hearing will get
yeah,
bad. I'm listening too much headset music,
yeah,
because that's what we are told. But for the last 5, 6 years, whenever I hear it, I don't hear it much. I'm like, okay, I don't know what it means, because it comes at random. For me, it comes at random. I cannot connect it with
yeah,
synchronicities at the moment. I'm
yeah.
not aware
So
of, did I just have a certain emotion? Did something happen in life? Was it before I need to be attentive because something is happening? I just look at it,
yeah,
okay, perhaps it's an upgrade. Perhaps it's some kind of information I'm not aware of.
yeah,
And so far, I cannot really make anything out of it, but it just comes. And
yeah.
yeah, it gets
So
really high sometimes, like
yeah, and you could hear it like it's like an internal kind of sound. It's not out there. Nobody's going to hear it. Only you can. So I believe that maybe because I came across a video, another synchronicity video, and it said that this is your pineal gland activated, and I thought, okay, that's what it is, and I didn't look into it, but they mentioned that if you hear the sound, that it's frequency or downloads or whatever it is. And for me, I've had it for a long time, and if it is downloads and it's been downloading at a high bandwidth because it's really loud, so that's the only thing I can take away from that. I didn't read too much into it, but I just left it as that. And like I said, there's a lot of clues in this life, and that you take what you need that resonates with you and what you feel and with your intuition. That's all I've been doing for the past couple of years now, and using that. Yeah,
but did you increase it? I mean, it started eventually. Did you start meditation, or what did you do? Just reading and seeing all these videos?
yeah, no. I started meditating because that's what it showed me. I need to lay on my back, meditate, and it showed me a CIA thingies, some documents that popped up on my recommendation thing, and I started reading it. Talking about hemisphere, left hemisphere, right. I was like, what what is this going to do for me? But like I said, I started looking into these things. I didn't push it aside because I started believing so much that nothing is a coincidence now. And I read the book, I read the manual or whatever it was. It was like a drawn out thing and looked like some kid scribbled little, created like looked like a toroidal field with the hemispheres. And I don't know I didn't know what those things were. And all I got to, what I took away from there is that they were some astral projection and the CIA was using it for something like that. I was like, oh, okay, let me read this thing. And then I learned that there were sounds and how it frequencies. So then guess what happened next? Frequency and sound. Here, Colin, listen to this. I was like, okay, let me try this. And it was one of these websites, not a website, a YouTube thing where I believed it had CIA files or something. They had sounds on there, the whole meditation thing. The audio quality wasn't good, but I started listening to it and nothing happened. Nothing happened for me. Like I did like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, nothing happened. And then something came to me, one of these synchronicity videos, and it's like, no, things don't happen right away. Sometimes you need it, because I put it away and I thought, nah, maybe this is not going to happen. And before that, also, I watched a lot of videos on multiverses and simulations. And wow, it was just a lot of things that they threw at me because I didn't understand. For me, simulation and multiverse was from Doctor Strange. That's the only thing that I would have, you know what I mean? If you had talked about it to me, because I didn't know about those things. And then also as a young guy, a young man growing up, I found those things fascinated, like 3D simulations, water. I would just create water simulations and fire and debris exploding for nothing because it looked cool. And I understand how they work. And when I saw the simulation thing, it's like, okay, what is this guy talking about? Nick Bostrom, I think. That's a video that popped up. I can't remember his name entirely. That was the first one, actually. And then I saw some stuff with Elon Musk talking about it and what he believes. And it was like a whole bunch of people. And then Nick deGrasse or something, where he was 50-50. I feel like he's always 50-50 on something and never 100% sure. So there was him, and there was what's this guy called? Hoffman, something. Is it Donald Hoffman? Also speaking about headset, the 3D headset theory, where everything is constructed within the mind. So those things popped up all the time. Like every time I would just put it away, put it up, and then Nick Bostrom again, or Donald Hoffman, or Alan Watts about reality and Christianity, the whole philosopher thing, And then I started learning about Greek mythology. That started popping up, Plato, Pythagoras, numbers and frequencies and light, how it works, and how everything is pretty much tied in together, And Anunnaki, also videos of that popped up all the time. These tablets with the glyphs. Egypt popped up. It was a lot of stuff, and I spent a whole maybe year, 2 years just with that. Trying to understand it and see how it all puts together in this puzzle. Because to me it started looking like a puzzle. I just took what it showed me. I didn't go and start Googling more. I just recommendations and what it showed me, what I need to understand. And those things I started asking as, what's the word I'm looking for? As an affirmation, a desire to learn more. So every time before I go to bed, I would lay on my back, meditate, and ask for knowledge to see these worlds, because people believed in, you know what I mean? So I wanted to know. I didn't push it to the side, because the UFO experience made me believe that these things are out there. If maybe I didn't see the UFO, I don't think I'll be here talking to you right now, because that's the first thing that made me go down this rabbit hole. And yeah, so
So what I get from this is like you kind of got this video and then you started meditating laying on the back, which many
yes,
people say you shouldn't, but I've also heard some people say you can meditate laying down. Then these vibrations increased, this feeling from the feet up in the whole body
yes,
increased. And
yes.
in the same time you received more and more suggestions on different topics around
Yeah.
the 3D and the reality and all these things. So while you were watching those things, you increased your meditation capacity and more vibration and continuous.
Yeah.
You have the sound
Yeah.
in the head all the time.
Yeah. So I used to listen to him, but then I wouldn't listen to the person talking. I think it was, I don't know who it was speaking, with the CIA file things that I found. So I think it's Monroe. I don't even know, because I didn't know who Monroe is. I just heard the CIA tape thing, and left ear, right ear, pardon. And so I'd listen to him, and every night for like maybe 2-3 weeks, and I'd go through one at a time. There's like different focus things. Like I still don't know what they mean or didn't mean at the time. But while I was listening to them, I didn't listen to him. I thought came in my head: knowledge, who we are, what we are, and where we come from, and where we are. Time, past, and future doesn't exist. That is all I used to say every day. And I would want to see multiverses every day. After 3 weeks, I would do that, listening to those sounds. And then I realized something, like this. First of all, there was that activation thing, like something switched on, like the whole vibration. I could feel it. It was like, woo, woo. And then I started seeing this liquid, like a purplish, like swirls, and it looked like a screensaver to me. You know what I mean? It looked like a screensaver.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
old
why?
school.
Yeah, I'm like, why is there a screensaver? You know which one I'm talking about, right? With the swirls, and it looked like a Windows screensaver, like with swirls.
Yeah,
I think
back
I've
in the
seen it
days.
before. Yeah. So I was like, why am I seeing a screensaver in my head? And then it just kept going, and then like a light would come. There's this light, because I asked, what is this? And then I felt like after that happened, I felt like this thoughts became more profound, like the communication, like, yes, but it's not like it will have a conversation with you. Yeah, take 3 aspirins and go and sit down, lay down. No, it doesn't do that. It's like, it's like, go outside, look up. You know what I mean? The thoughts. It doesn't, like, this is why I'm really amazed when these guys do these things and, like, channel. They're like, yeah, no, we can do this and humans need. I'm like, oh, wow, this is amazing. I want to know how they do it, because I don't experience that. I just get thoughts, like word thoughts to my head. And what happens is there's a visual and word thoughts, and yeah, so that to me was amazing just off the bat. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen that before, this whole swirly liquid thing. And then there's a light that pops up. So that happened for a couple of weeks where I would see that. So I was thinking that's God, or the spiritual realm or something. Um, and I would ask it questions, the light, and it would reply. Like, because I learned that you can speak to the light from one of those synchronicity videos. And I started doing that with my thoughts. And I asked to see the universe. I asked to see the multiverse, the knowledge, pretty much the same affirmation for day in and day out for like 3 weeks, all the time. And then one day it happened. Um, I saw clouds in my head while I was working on my computer, like clouds literally forming in front of me with my eyes open. I didn't know what it was. I panicked. I thought, oh my gosh, is this what happens when you get this old? You know what I mean? Is this a warning, or what is going on here? So I kind of like, wait, hold on. Why am I seeing clouds like around? Like, it was all over in front of me. Like, they were there, like projected. You know what I mean? And then the clouds would be like moving really fast, like I'm flying through it. And then it would make a hole, like a circle, and I'd fly through it. Like, the clouds would open up and make a circle. And as I'm flying through, I see a city. I see like another world. And I was like, whoa. Up till today, I do this all the time. Like, I can go out there whenever I want to, and I still cannot have any, I still don't have any words for this. I'm still blown away. So when I watch these guys, I just, press enter and then I'm there and I click back and left, and then I exit. I'm like, but they don't tell you what that feeling, that experience, you know what I mean? It's so like, I still can't wrap my head around it. And I've been doing this for years. I have no words for it. There are no words on this planet that can describe that feeling. And then I saw myself sitting in like what looked like one of those wooden chairs, a wicker chair. I think it's like a wicker chair, those brown ones. There was a little girl running outside. And the colors, they're so vibrant, such vibrant and saturated. And the visuals is, and I didn't know what was happening at first, right? Because the image did like phasing, like it would do this, and then it would start moving so fast and then stop. You know what I mean? Like the flash, and then it would just. Then I would see the image, and I saw the little girl running out. I knew that was me. I didn't see my face because I had a watch that the person was wearing, and he was sitting. So I was coming like from the back, going down into the house, like just flying into the house. I saw the little girl running out, and I didn't know that I could turn my head around. I didn't know these things. So I would just wait and watch where it would take me. So I was like an observer. I just decided to sit and wait and watch. And then somebody came and I woke up. I wasn't sleeping, sorry. Somebody came, I had to open the door, and I went, it stopped, interrupt my thing. So I gave the person whatever it was that they wanted. And I went back to my room and laid down. And then I continued again. I didn't meditate, nothing. I just laid on my back. And then the thing started showing me. And it showed me cakes on the table. Like I was right by the cake. Like the cakes were like by my face, of a unicorn and chocolate cakes. And then I moved my head. That freaked me. Like I wasn't freaked out. I was like I did this. And I was like there, like moving. You know what I mean? And that just blew me away. I was like, wow, whoa, this is amazing. No more Netflix for me, no more whatever. I'm just doing this every night. I stop watching Netflix and stop watching everything. All I do is I just go and sit somewhere through my astral projection and look at the sea or dinosaurs. I saw the dinosaurs. I've seen so many different worlds or dimensions. I don't know what to call them, or realities. There's so many of them. And I've seen like buildings that we've never, not even in movies I've seen, and all the colors, everything look like it's well constructed. And I could do this with my eyes open. That even blew me away. Like afterwards, I learned that you could do this with your eyes open. The reality gets projected into your surrounding, wherever you go. Does that make sense?
It's like augmented reality through your phone, but you don't have a phone or a
Yes.
tablet or whatever in front of
Yes.
you. You basically,
Yeah.
so to try to understand, I'm listening. I'm like, my mind tries to understand now what I'm listening to here.
Yeah.
And of course, my logic mind goes like, Collin is crazy.
Yeah.
My
yeah. Don't tell my mom.
Like, don't. No, I'm gonna call the police.
Oh my
send
gosh.
them to you to save you. No, but I mean, I had so many different discussions. This is the first time someone talks about things like that to me. So I'm trying to understand. So you learned you use these sounds apparently, right? So I've also been given YouTube suggestions several times, and then on Facebook the same, like, what the fuck? I'm like, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? And I didn't buy it because I was like, shit, what? If it's for the good, they can also use it for the bad, right? I mean, you can get like sound stuff which makes it just feel very blocked.
Really?
Instead of... Probably. I mean, every good has a bad side, right? Without
the balance,
darkness, we don't have light, right?
Yeah.
You need the balance. So I'm a bit afraid. So I think fear is guiding me way too much instead of curiosity and trying out. So you have like this binaural dual sound from Monroe Institute. I know someone which I think worked together with Monroe Institute for the astral projection, for intuition. So they got like letters and stuff, and then they had to figure out what do they see, how do they see it, and they describe it, and that's how they figured out how the Russians had bases, and they got, and some people there's like the Y files. They apparently also
Yeah.
went into like mountains and saw like hidden bases, and they were like completely shut down afterwards, because like how can two or three people see the same when it's not real, right? Or like
Yeah.
feel the same. Or now you're the first one explaining me that way, because I'm like, what does seeing mean, right? I mean, is it like you saw like drawings and you, but you really explain it like you had this headset, you had it for 2-3 weeks, you put it away, videos kept on popping up, put it back on, you learn to meditate laying down. Eventually you have all the vibrations, you have the zzz, the sounds which increase, and then you have like this liquid which moves. You realize, because of another video Synchronicity gives, hey, ask questions. You start asking questions. I learned for Da Silva method. It's also like you have a problem and you want to have a certain solution, so you hand it up, right? It could be a USB drive, a CD drive, a VHS cassette from the old times, or just whatever, handshake, and the solution will come, but you don't have to figure out how. Now you say also just ask questions, and you wanted to see the parallel universes, the multiverse. Did you also, and then eventually you realized you can do that with open eyes? And now I, at least me, I don't know for the listeners, listeners, you have to please write in the comments, please. Now write in the comments if this is on YouTube, and if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast or whatever, you go to YouTube because I don't know where you can have all the comments, and just write the comments and questions you have. But for me, it sounds like I have a tablet in front of me, and I don't know if we talked about it when I was like 5 years ago in Romania. We got in a shop, we got some QR code things from the shop because we bought for a certain amount of money, and then you add this on your app you downloaded because of whatever. And then you had like a dinosaur on the table. You had a little dinosaur making sounds and moving. So I can imagine it's kind of like that, but without glasses, without a tablet. It's actually just starting to appear in front of you, and you are there. Like you in the augmented reality. Your body is here, but your mind is there. Did you then also say, okay, is this fantasy? Am I just imagining that? Am I just, tricking my mind? No. Did you test it? Saying, okay, I want to know what my mom is doing. I want to know what my dad is doing.
Yeah.
Or I want to know... I want to know Area 52. Does it exist? Where is it? What do they have down there?
Yeah, I didn't go that far, but the immediate thing is like when I figured out what was all this, what people say psychic abilities. I didn't know what they were. Like they've got names for them, voyance and clairvoyance, and I don't even know what they are, but I could do those things. I only learned what they were and how to do them. And when this experience happened to me, I wanted to see people that have passed on, like my dad, like, that was the first person, and my grandparents, and, those are the people that I was trying. And you have to block out a lot. Otherwise you get things just popping in your head, and you get like, it comes like it wants to phase, and then it comes into reality, like in your head. And then if something you think about somewhere else or whatever it is, that's why you have to just let it happen. You have to trust it. I learned that you need to breathe in, focus on your breathing, and trust, and keep your mind occupied with what is happening as an observer. And then it would materialize right there. I started learning about manifestations and, energy going out, coming back, what you think about, you bring about, you're attracting, the laws of attraction, all the stuff that you probably know a lot more in detail than I do. Like I said, for me, it was just the experience and video that would pop up on YouTube. Watch it. Okay, so that's what it means. Let me try it out. And I've been doing this for a couple of years now. So I did go and see my father, and he was in another reality. You know what I mean? There was different people with him. I saw him. And when you open your eyes, here's the thing. You don't see them as a fully rendered, as opposed to closing your eyes. When you close your eyes, you see the real, what looks like reality in that plane or that dimension or wherever you went. But when you open your eyes, it looks like hologram to me, or what people think is ghosts. Like, there's no ghosts. I've channeled many people to come, and I could see them right here in the living room where I am. The lighting needs to be low lit. You cannot have bright light. It has to be low lit and some light. So whatever happens, there's like this noise that starts forming if I keep my eyes open. If I close my eyes, I can see the noise in my forehead. And then there's like a space, like this depth within my forehead. Or when I close my eyes, it feels like there's a lot of space where it never felt like that before. And noise, like a latent space. I started learning about latent spaces and models connected with the AI stuff. And the noise gets together, depending on what you're looking at, and forms a picture, but it just vibrates. Anyway, so I went and I saw my father. I saw my grandfather. Then I learned that you could ask your grandfather, my grandfather, to come and wake me up in a lucid dream. I watched a video that popped up that said you can do that. So I did. And I asked my grandfather to come and wake me up at 4 a.m. with the whole affirmation thing. And I didn't say too many words. I kept it very simple. I visualized his face in my head, and I said his full name, and also stated this reality, because I don't know, you know what I mean? So I was laying on my couch, and 4 a.m., like I slept. And then 4 a.m., I was dreaming where he appeared just before 4 a.m. and he poked my stomach. Like he used to do this when I was a kid, my belly, like, because I always used to lay on his couches back then. And he used to come and, he liked playing pranks. Maybe that's where I get the humor from, because I love pranks anyway. Yeah, I used to play a lot of pranks. Hey, some people don't even know it was me. I'm not, if they watch this video. Anyway, so he came and he poked me and I could feel it. Here's the weird thing. I felt it. Like I woke up going, you know what I mean? Like I could feel it poking me. And then the sensation disappeared as I became more conscious, as I woke up. But looked at my watch, 4 a.m. on the dot. He was there and it worked. So whoever wrote that video or said this is possible, I can chalk it to a yes, because I tried it. So this, for me, it was about experimenting and trying these things that people claim. Like I said, anyone can know, the fool, can always know, but to understand, the point is to understand these things. And I don't just understand, I want to replay it the way that they said it. You know what I mean? And that's what I started doing. Like, oh, you can do that. You can do this. And it's possible. Then I started learning about the sound and the vibration and what people say are light codes. I started digging into that, understanding what they were. And like I realized there are certain, I think I might have mentioned it to you earlier, that you could take your cell phone, right? And film something. You don't need to film yourself. Just hold your cell phone, record video, and then play it back and see if you can hear. For me, it sounds like there's a motor running, like, and at night it sounds like a tractor with a turbo. Yeah. And it's like I didn't understand, because how that happened, how I came across that is that somebody asked me to take a video of what I was watching. And I did that. And then when I sent it to them, it's like, I can't hear anything. So I was like, played the video back, and I just heard this motor sound like the whole time. And I'm like, that's weird. Let me try again. Same thing. Over and over and over. It just always there. The sound is there. During the day, it's a lot less lower. At night, it sounds like it's crazy. So that's one thing. And I realized that is part of your vibration, from what I understand, inside you. And then I also realized that a lot of the images and geometry, ancient geometry, all those things are trigger things within our DNA, to activate certain things. And that I'm a firm believer, because you will never believe this. The pufferfish, have you heard of the pufferfish? I would never have Googled this in my entire life. This thing creates ancient geometry on the seabed in Japan. I was blown away. Somebody sent that video to me. So I realized that, okay, let me look at the geometry and, take it in. And this is something like me not believing in coincidences. I watched the video and it showed like a ancient geometry of like a sun. It looked like a sun, you know, those that you see in Egypt, and the Anunnaki things. The Anunnaki, yeah, exactly the same, with like petals, and like in the middle look like wavy lines. So I know that's probably the sun or whatever it is. But a fish popped up on my social feed. Like somebody sent it to me and said, "Hey, look at this fish." And does this puffer fish does this for its mate. So the woman comes and says, "Yeah, no, that's good. Let's good. We're good to go. You're a good builder." I was like, maybe I need to get like a whole bunch of puffer fishes out here to do construction, because this construction out here is a problem. Anyway,
Yeah, it's
that
gonna be tough. It's dry.
yeah,
They need water.
yeah, yeah. So that was one of the things, and I was like, "Hold on, that looks so familiar." And I've seen that design in a lot of churches, and the Anunnaki, um, Sumerian things, the Assyrian, like they all have that design. Those petals, like, and it's like a sun. So I try to Google, you know, the historical value of it, or what its substance. You know what I mean? There's nothing. Nobody even talks about that geometry. But I checked. I started digging and going into different tablets, and I saw the designs there. So whatever the design that I saw from the pufferfish was something that was relative to me. Tried to figure out something new. You know what I mean? Because this is the path that I started taking. I started playing detective. Yeah,
Yeah. So you really, I'm not asking so many questions. Once, because I don't
yeah,
know if we are delayed,
yeah,
and two, because I'm like, just like, okay, it's going from one place to another place. It's like
yeah,
really this puzzle thing. It's really like you just follow the next bread crumble, like in all these stories. You just go, oh, here's that, and now we are at the pufferfish, which has this symbol, which apparently is something you probably need for next activation or for next step or whatever.
yeah,
Um, now, now another thought which came to my mind just when you shared with the pufferfish. Are we gonna try? Yeah, to link that video so people can find it if you have
yeah.
it somewhere. Otherwise, I try to find
I
it
I
because I'm
will. I
curious. I
will.
want to see that.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot that I could share. When it comes to that sort of thing. Even things that I've seen outside that I filmed. Um,
Yeah, and but the other thought which came up while you shared was like, okay, you mentioned like I would not be speaking to you now. I would not have gone down that path if I would not have seen the alien, the UFOs.
yeah.
And like people probably said, hey, he said, I've seen. Yeah, we talked about your grandfather seeing the UFOs, but wait, when did he mention he saw the UFOs? Not in this talk yet. We talked
Mm.
about it, whatever, 2 weeks or whatever it was ago. So, do you want to go shortly into that? What happened there? This was kind of like opening
Yeah.
up
Uh,
your curiosity, right? What happened? You said 96, 97. You're not quite sure.
no, because I mean, I'm not quite sure when it did happen, or if it was something that did happen. Because I started questioning, did this really happen? Because I know this. It's so. I remember the details. You know what I mean? Whether it's a memory that came from wherever, from my other future self or whatever it was, I was there and I knew what happened. In South Africa, we lived on a farmland area in South Africa where the houses were mostly spread out, and I went to go and visit my grandparents when they were still alive. So it was 90s, somewhere around that, some 97, I think. Anyway, so I stopped at my cousin's house first, and he was like so happy to see me, showing me his 30 or 200 centimeter screen. He's a video gamer, showing me how the cars fly, and I'm like, yeah, this is wonderful. Let me go. I want to go and see my grandparents, because that's where I was going to go and stay. And as I was, he was like, no, 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 let me show you another game. And it's what, 11 a.m., half 11. And then friends of his came over to come and hang out. They were looking for my cousin's brother. So they came and asked for him. And then they saw me. And then they started asking me about Botswana, and I was like, yeah, no, asking me, hey, are there women in Botswana? That's like the first thing they ask. They don't even ask anything else. Hey, man, hey, are the chicks there? You know what I mean? With the accent. I was like, nah, man, you're better off here. Just stay here. You're good. And then they kept talking. So they were smoking outside, right? And I don't smoke cigarettes or anything. So I was standing there against the wall because it was cold. I remember it was cold. So we were like brushed up against the wall. And they were asking me all these questions. And then there was this light that came from out of nowhere. So I thought maybe it's a helicopter, because the area that we live in, there's a lot of dubious guys that live out there, And that to me is normal, to have a helicopter flying around that time of the morning, looking for, criminals, because we lived in a criminal neighborhood. It was criminal city. Anyway, so I'm looking at this light. It was a white light, like a helicopter light shining on the front of the yard. And these guys were still talking and, explaining things and asking me questions. And I like just blocked them out because I'm looking at this light and I'm waiting for the sound. There was no sound. And the light kept moving forward. So I was like, hold on a second. And there was like a dog. There was a dog in the front yard. It was looking at it, staring up. So I ran towards where the dog was. And when I looked up, I saw this huge round UFO. It just stopped when I ran out. When I ran there and I stopped, it stopped. And I was looking at it, and the light wasn't shining into my eyes. So I did this, but I could still see the structure and the other yellowish lights around it. It was massive. It looked as big as the house or even bigger. And I was just in awe. Like, I didn't know. Like, you get what we call deer lights. When you're just like looking and trying to process, because this thing is that big and there's no sound. So my brain, like, I was trying to figure out, why is there no sound? Why am I not? I don't hear, spaceships and whatnot. At that time, I didn't watch any Star Wars movies. I wasn't into that kind of stuff. It wasn't my thing. But I know that everything has sound. Where is this thing sound? And it's literally right above the house. It could have been a lot higher. It's just that it was so big that it looked like it was right on top of the house. And my cousin's friends ran towards me. And as soon as they got to me, they were like in awe, and they were like freaking out. Like, what is this? Like shouting at each other. And then this thing kind of like backed up, like it reversed. Like, there's a reverse gear in that thing. It didn't make a U-turn or bounce all the way up or do any weird things that a lot of people say. I haven't seen that yet. So it just casually just backed up. And then it just took off, like, in its trajectory, and it just started speeding up. And in like 3-4 seconds, it was gone. 1, 2, 3 seconds. And it was up there and gone. And we were just like, hey, did you see that? What did you see? You know what I mean? We're trying to gather what we just saw. So they were excited and they saw this thing, and that was it. So I tell people that, no, I saw this thing, and they're like, yeah, no, well, whatever. And we never had internet back then. A lot of things were censored back then. It was crazy. So, YouTube came around, and I was like, let me take this opportunity to start searching for these things, especially during lockdown. Like, I think lockdown was a reason, you know what I mean? I started digging into this whole thing because I wasn't working. We couldn't work. So lockdown was meant to happen for me in that way, for me to figure and search these things, because I had time to like figure out what is this, Google. And I started watching Ancient Aliens, I think. That was the first thing. And those guys, everything is like an ancient alien artifact. Doesn't matter what it is, So I watched like up to 12, 13 episodes, and they were talking. But then I started feeling like these guys are just saying a lot of things because they needed to make episodes. You know what I mean? And my friend used to watch it as well, because he's the one that mentioned it to me. He says, no, Ancient Aliens. So I started going to like 12, 13. Then I started saying things to him, and he's like, hey, man, you got to stop watching Ancient Aliens. You know what I mean? You're going to go crazy. So I was like, okay, let me stop this stuff. And then, and from then on, things started happening, like I was mentioning before, Anunnakis and all these things. I'm like, why? What is this? I didn't know these things. I didn't know what the Anunnaki was. And then I watched a video. Now, the first one that popped up was this German guy. Was he German or Belgian? Belgian, I think. He wrote a book, the gods or something, God's chariot of gods or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but he spoke about Enoch, you know, and how what Enoch saw, you know, the chariot of fire, you know, coming down. Um, Van Doniken. Yeah, that name popped in my head. Something Van Doniken. Van Daniken? Or something like that. It just literally just popped in my head. Eric von Daniken, I think. Von Daniken.
He's Swiss.
Is he Swiss? I don't know.
I think
Is
it's
it?
Eric von Däniken. I think it's the Swiss UFO guy.
Yeah, UFO. That's all he spoke about. UFOs, and I watched that. That was like the first thing that popped up.
So I have a friend which met him.
Yeah, really. Yeah. So I believe that, you know, the stuff with that Enoch saw and, you know, going up into the clouds and all that kind of stuff, I believe it came from, you know, because he said that he saw people that look like ghosts, holograms, you know what I mean? So it could have been his area that just changed into the whole spaceship, because that happens. You could do that by project. I've done it here. It's still something I can't get used to. It's just, I'm just blown away every time it happens. So I believe that he did see what he needed to see that was projected from him, you know. And back then they didn't know what holograms were. They didn't know what was happening. So, you know, he thought he was taken up by the gods, you know what I mean? And they appear right there. Like you can channel any entity or loved one as a spirit guide. From what I've learned, they call them spirit guides. To me, they look like holograms. And you can also render them in your mind, depending on how strong your vibration is, so that they become more clearer in your reality. But if you close your eyes, you can see what they really look like. You know, otherwise they look like video game characters. I don't know if that makes sense. Like they're not fully rendered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So then my question is, yeah, you mentioned channeling and now you say you're rendering, and
Yeah.
then I'm starting to think like, okay, now how do you know that it is your relatives, the spirit guides, or whatever it is, or is it just your mind creating all that?
No.
How do you know? Did you get some feedback which was important for your life, like, or was it until now just entertainment?
To me, it was, what is this thing? I need to understand what it is, and it's beautiful and it's amazing. Like people, like everything that I've learned about channeling, where I call it streaming. I don't know, like I'm going to talk like in a video game kind of way because I understand it better that way. But whether you say it's channeling or streaming, to me, it's the same thing. And you can create streams in different rooms. I learned that. You can create the dinosaurs in this room. If you want to come, every time you walk in here, you'll see them. You understand what I mean? So your opinion, for me, it's about what's projecting from you. Now, maybe the others, and I've learned that you can also increase somebody's vibration so that they can see what I'm seeing right there. I've done that with people that have come to visit me, and their vibration increases so they can see what I'm seeing. I learned that that's possible. I didn't know about these things. You can activate people, basically. And how long it lasts, I don't know, because sometimes people, I don't know this. I think it's a lot also to do with what they believe in. You know, you have to put aside everything that would prevent you, like fear and all these kind of things. Like people, fear is like the biggest contributing factor to seeing these things. And you know, the videos that I used to watch or listen to, this binaural, they said create an energy field around you. I didn't even think of those things. I was just there without energy protections, and I don't see the negativity when I'm there. Like I don't believe that they're there. I think maybe if you believe that they're there, then you will see them, because it's relative to what your beliefs are. And if you're afraid of something, then it doesn't make it look scary. Whether it's a dragon you want to see, because you can bring a dragon here and it can just walk around. I've done that by doing a Udemy channeling. You know, they said no, you can channel dragons, you can do Atlantean things. Like everything is the same. It's just the process that they do it is different from what I've learned. You know, Kundalini, Buddhism, all those things, they're one and the same thing. It's just used different ways to connect. Your path is different, but and the choices you make on your journey will vary from people. But at the end, when you get there, it's the same place. And like the biggest thing that I've seen is fear, anxious, and disbelief. That's the biggest thing. If you have those, you would never, like, I feel that those things would keep you back. And I I'm just always in awe when it happens. And I've been doing this, I can't, and I get excited about it when I tell people. They get tired of me telling them, but it's just an amazing experience and something that I never ever thought in my wildest dreams would become a reality, and it just made sense in how things have been put together, like the whole system. You're talking about a guy that's explained the system, right? I can tell you about the system that I saw up there, why I'm telling you why I think the pineal gland, why I know it's always on, and your vibration and the energy is what you need to increase to get more data, more throughput. If I think about it from like a technical side of it, and when I came back from that, like I saw future. I went back in time. The first time this happened, like when I saw the kid, me, my other me's, I saw things, buildings like changing, like around me. And then it took me back to the dinosaurs. I saw dinosaurs popping up, but they looked like holograms when I opened my eyes. But you close your eyes, you can see the real thing. And I saw like a snake, like trying to, like you can feel it. Like it feels like electric pulses, like, certain parts where it touches you. That's what it feels like. And I felt like a snake that had like yellow and black straps. I don't even know what snake that is. It was also like on a plant, and it was like coming next to me. Like I felt it. And then I saw a dinosaur. I went there a couple of times, and it was amazing. So I didn't let everything play out because I didn't know what was going on. Things were just moving so fast, like realities, coming in, then it goes, another one. And then I'm there, and then I see my mom, because I wanted to see my mom in one of the affirmations. And I saw my dad. They're coming in like a video, but I could move my head around and look like I'm there. And then when I came back, I don't know how to explain this to you. When I came back, this thing that's on stays on. And when I look at the walls, I can see that noise, like it's always on. I know certain people say that they have to meditate to switch it on. Mine just stays on. Like I'm talking to you right now, and I can see it's there, the noise. And I learned that there's things that you can do in this reality that I've learned that I could do as well, and I could show you. I have videos, but that we could talk about another time, because that's where we get into the whole paranormal things. That's going to really blow your mind, and the whole observer effect, because I understand how it works. But that would be like a whole another podcast on its own. And I'd be happy to share that if people are interested, with videos. Because all of us are more powerful than we think we are. Very, very powerful. Like I wouldn't ever think that I'd be here speaking to you about this whole experience in my entire life. But
Yeah. I'm thinking. For me, it feels like a really nice roundup for what we talked. Otherwise, we open up another box, which there needs a lot of space. Which I think it's probably done better in a new episode.
Yeah.
So, because for me it feels rounded, to be honest, from what you shared. So now you mentioned some blocks. You mentioned how you get there. So, what are the advice for people which are listening and saying, "This sounds cool. I want to stop my Netflix, Amazon, HBO." Disney Plus or whatever addiction, and create my own reality. What are the steps you think, like just very short, without going too much into details, to do?
Yeah.
And what are the blocks which hinder people actually to get there?
I would say don't first of all, nothing is a coincidence. If something pops up and it resonates with you, whether it's via your intuition or whatever, look into it, because that's what I did. That's the number one thing that led me down to all, me ending up right here speaking to you. And that I stand 100% by. And then also believe, believe that there's so much more that you're capable, and believe that there's so much more out there, because there is. And it's amazing. I would never ever in my wildest dreams believe that I could leave my body and go and see these wonderful worlds and go into, you could also go into people's dreams and make them dream about you. That's a whole new topic. Like, I tried those things and it does work. It's amazing. You could push thoughts to people's minds, like even get thoughts from them. And it's not like I said, it's thoughts that appear in your head, like, you know, speaking to you through thoughts, through energy thoughts, and don't always try to keep your vibration high. Don't let things get to you. Always try to maintain a high vibration, because, if you believe in the law of attraction, which I do 100%, then only positive things will happen, and positive things will open up for you, in terms of where you want to go and what it will show you, the console or God soul or whatever it is. And we're all tethered to it. Our souls are all tethered to it, whether people believe that we can download our consciousness into our avatars, or whether our souls are connected to another being out there. But I can tell you, there's a lot more from what I've seen that I could also share on my thoughts around it, and from what I've experienced, that I can tell you how that works, because when you go to the spiritual realm, it shows you so many things. You just need to put things together and you'll remember everything. And you just need to understand what it showed you, because a lot of what we experience in our life, and what I believe now, is allegory. I take a little bit and try to make sense of it and say, what do you actually mean? Oh, it means, your body, not the actual, you know what I mean? So I learned a lot of those things, and this is how I came to all um, the things that I've experienced through what I've seen in the spiritual realm, in the other dimensions, and synchronicity in this reality, and also my intuition. Like, everything just gets so enhanced once you get to the spiritual realm. Once it shows you things and you come back. Like I said, I had a vibration for a long time. When I came back, everything just became so pronounced. It's like the insights, the abilities, the paranormal abilities or psychic abilities, everything just gets so enhanced. Your aura gets bigger, your energy, everything goes out, and you have better understanding of how to speak to people as well. It's like you just know the person and you can connect with everyone. It doesn't matter who they are, and on so many different levels. Like, it doesn't matter, science, physics, or whatever. You just get downloads while you're talking to the person and understand what that person is actually saying to you. It's amazing. I'm not a scientist. I don't know anything about those things, but I do understand people, and how to talk to them when they ask me stuff. And I'm just totally blown away. Like I said, there's a lot of guys out there that will tell you, gurus, and I've they've popped up on my radar. At a time, because I was lost and I was trying to figure things out. So I watched all of these videos trying to understand what's happening to me. And I learned nothing from them, honestly. I just learned that some of them are not honest now that I know. And I trusted my intuition a lot more, and, what's been popping up around me to make sense of what's going on. And these guys that tell you that it's scary to astral project and you might get lost. Yeah, there's quite a few of them on YouTube, and they got millions of followers. I just don't know how, because you don't get lost. You can't get untethered. You can't die there, nothing. If something happens, it happens in this reality, not your astral projection. Because your astral projection is coming from here. You don't really, for me, it's not about really being out of your body. I think it's your conscious that gets projected out there to see what's happening. You know what I mean? Like a stream coming into you, and your brain makes sense of the whole reality. That is what I believe, because you can go anywhere you want. And as soon as you like a lucid dream, you wake up or you feel like something is wrong, you will spring out of it. Your conscious doesn't get, or your soul doesn't get left behind. You're always tethered to it. There's no way. The only way you can get left behind or detached is if somebody kills you in this reality. Like your avatar is no longer. That's the only way it can work. That's what I believe. And I never used to create like, what do you call it? Energy shields and stuff. Like I even forgot about that. I only learned afterwards listening to Monroe. Oh, energy shield. Let me create it now. I used to just go and I used to see these things and nothing came. No, I didn't see any entities, evil things. I just saw beautiful things. I saw a lot of dimensions, and there's a lot. There's the dimension that shows creation. I saw that. I know what I don't like talking about it because I don't think a lot of people would understand or are ready for me to say. But I've also heard about Monroe speaking it, saying that he saw creation. And I wanted to know what he saw, if it was something that I saw, because I saw how even the simulation thing, it showed me that up there. So, I am telling you right here, I can share this with you. We are 100%. I'm not 50-50, 120, because I went back there a number of times to go and make sure, what is this? What am I seeing? Let me ask again for weeks. And it kept showing me the same thing. And then I asked, what is, and it told me that we are 100% in a simulation. And it showed me how it works, and the stars as well. When I came back, I woke up, I go outside. Every time I would open my eyes, the motor switches on. I go outside at night. The stars look like they're dangling on top of my house, and the moon looks like a lamp, a ceiling lamp. It's things just look different to me now, and I wish there was a way that I could project what I'm seeing onto a screen using science. I don't know if they have that technology yet, and I don't know if Elon is is there yet or not. I don't know if there is, but I think there are people having certain breakthroughs, and this is why I tell you, hey, just believe in yourself and trust in the above, and don't question things, and it will reveal all you seek. That's all you need. You don't need anyone else because you've got everything inside you. Your heart connects, and laughter is the fuel. Increase your vibration and use your heart. Yeah.
You went much further.
Yeah. I just opened up another can, right? Yeah.
You opened up several cans of worms here.
Yeah.
At least for me. I don't know how it is for the other listeners. What I heard again is like, increase your vibration, high vibration. Don't be afraid. I've heard from many people, meditation, whatever. When you get out, clean the space so the bad entities don't come to you. I've heard other people like you, they said there's nothing bad. Everything just is.
I haven't seen anything.
It's just whatever. It's inside you if it's something bad.
Yeah.
And I like the playfulness you have. My question, I don't know if I was not clear explaining. For me, it was like, how do we get to a place where we can actually do the same as you do? Like, what would be your action steps to get there? One thing is, don't be afraid. Follow your instinct. Increase your vibration. Now the question then for me is like, okay, how do I increase the vibration?
Believe.
Do I go to the Monroe Institute and I download the
water,
music,
drink a lot
or do
of
I
water.
learn to meditate and drink a lot of water?
Drink a lot of water too. I don't know, whatever switched on requires liters. Like I can drink 10 liters a day. I'm always sipping water. It's at night. It's really enhanced or really intense, so I have to keep drinking. But here's the thing: as soon as I sleep or pass out, it switches off. And when I wake up, I can feel it increasing again, like it switches on. And I open my eyes and I see noise on my walls. It's like a TV screen that I can see. I don't know if anyone's told you this, but this is what I can see. And then when I look at it long enough, the wall will start vibrating like this so fast and then disappear. Like I could almost like see through it, if that's another way of explaining to it. and whatever I want to ask or my affirmation, then that appears in this space. And at night, if with little lights, it's like waves, like I don't know if you how to explain it, like energy things. Like if I do this on my hand, I could see it around my hand, and it just looks strange. Like I've never experienced that before. And I think maybe it's the noise that's wrapping around certain things that's projecting from my gland. And I could see, like sometimes when I close my eyes and I listen to sound, I can see the sound vibration like in my head. I don't know if anyone's experienced that. Yeah. And then I've been doing that for so long, and I'm like, hold on. And when I open my eyes, I can also see patterns on the walls when I ask for it. You have to ask. Can I see the patterns on the wall, the cymatics? Then it shows me how the pattern looks. It's amazing. So I could see patterns like it's all on the wall. And I know it's being projected from here, because not everyone, there is somebody that, and if I want you to see it, I can just increase your vibration and you'll see it with me. This is an amazing thing. And then I
Okay,
know
but
that
so how do I increase the
yeah.
vibration? How do I if I listen and say, okay, I'll meditate, but I simply cannot get anywhere. So how do I increase
Yeah.
the vibration? What do you do to increase the
What
vibration?
what I didn't do anything. Here's the weird thing. I just followed videos and I believed. You know, I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. I just drank a lot of water. It said, drink a lot of water, go and stand in the sun. I started going stand in the sun and then charge your crystals. I heard that there's crystals. I watched a video on crystals. The pineal gland has got crystals. So I went and I did that through intuition and synchronicity. And when I closed my eyes, I noticed I saw a kaleidoscope, like, forming, like here, like a target sign kaleidoscope kind of thing. And it looked like eight, like the eight
The
things.
symbol.
Yeah, then it would start flickering and then spin and then it disappears. That is right there. And then if I close my eyes and I move my eyes around, when you close your eyes, you can see the target sign moving. It's crazy. So I know that's your pineal gland or something that's moving around with your eye. So every time you look at something, it triggers off whatever's supposed to happen in your environment. Like if I look at a tree, it starts blowing. If you look at it from the angle of your eye, it's not moving. As soon as you look at it, for me, it starts moving. Like the wind's there and it does that. So it's like this is triggering whatever's happening out here and sending data back up there and then coming back to us and our brains figuring it out. That's why I say it's always there. From the childhood songs, those were all allegory, if you ask me. The Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star and Row, Row Your Boat, Life is a Dream. How does it go? You know the songs, right? That came to me as an intuition. That's the funny part of it. It was all intuition. Like I'm watching this thing and I'm like, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Life is but a dream. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. So there's just a lot of things that were happening that were just too much what maybe people would think is a coincidence, but I don't anymore. So
Yeah, but then let's. It's. I feel like
you see, the thing is, I think what you could do is also believe. Hey, I think believe is a really big thing. If you cannot believe that there's other dimensions out there, and your ego blocks, your heart, or that's what they say in the spiritual realm. If your ego is taking precedence of your heart, then you shall not see these other things, or your vibration won't be at that level for you to experience the other dimensions. So I think a lot of it is to let go of pretty much things that all the fallacies. I think that's what I would call them, like the fluoride thing. I'd have never ever knew that there was an issue until I started coming up with people talking about fluoride. I'm like, okay, I don't know. I've been brushing my teeth with fluoride for years and I still go. Then there's also the eating meat thing. You need to cleanse your body, so I eat what I want. I've been doing that for years. I drink water from a tap. I live in Africa. We hear people like, oh, somebody was talking to me and say, no, it's bad yin. And I'm like, dude, have you been to Africa? I don't know, because things are different out here. And there's like the vibration thing. I think that's got to that has to do with mostly what you believe, I think. Hey, and you will get activated from the top. Just keep drinking water, go into the sun. That's what I kept doing. and I believed I was charging my crystals, and I put the thought out in my head, I'm charging my crystals, because that's what I believed that they were saying to me in that video. So that's what I kept as an affirmation every time I'd go out into the sun. I'd have that in my head. I'm charging my crystals. I'm upgrading myself. I said that every day for years since the vibration thing, and now it's insane. Like I can feel people's energies around me. You know, it's way off. So vibration, I think that needs to come from within you. Hey, really in you, in what you believe, so your blockages. You know, that's what they. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I think I get it. You also told me I have to cut you down because you can keep
Yeah,
on
I will go
sharing.
on and on. Like there's, they say sharing is caring. So I got a lot. I got a lot of care.
That's great. So I get it. I really I can feel it. I mean, it started, and closing it down, I really feel it's about you're not taking it from the head. I mean, I try to, figure out what did you do? What are the steps, right? That's my engineering background. You just experienced it. You just followed, as I said before, and it just came. And you're just experiencing it. And you want to share, like, how does it feel? And I hope it's helping people to say, okay, there's not a real, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-step path. It's believing, not being afraid. Don't get yourself fearful, and the vibration come from inside out. And whatever you find, follow the synchronicities, follow the videos, follow the little tips, and just do it, and you will get somewhere.
And your intuition. Trust your intuition. I cannot state that, stress that enough. You need to trust your intuition, trust your higher self, or wherever, because there is no wrong way, is what I believe. Learn as me, looking at other cultures and how they practice these. You mentioned Kundalini, right?
Yeah, that's like the old practice with having the vibrations.
Yeah. So that is their method. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, because it does work for people. So for me, I didn't know those things. I only learned it after I had experienced this. I just been laying on my back, and then this whole thing just gets really loud, and some people even run away because the bed starts like shaking a bit, like the vibration. Like I had somebody over, they're like, why is the bed like moving? I was like, just relax, going for a ride. Yeah. So there's so much I can go on about, but I think, we leave that for another time. And I could maybe try and I could maybe try to do maybe more of a comprehensive approach. Like, I mean, here we're just like bouncing everywhere and just explaining, but I could try and, I wouldn't even call it a tutorial, but I would just maybe go into something to say that maybe try this, try that. If this doesn't work, try that. Like like debugging kind of way of how to connect, because everybody can do it. You don't need anyone out there, really. I struggle to find out all these things, and I realized that you don't need anyone to do these things. You just need to believe in yourself and trust the process. That's what I believe 100%. And
I think I think that's really nice word to end up. I mean, we are already half an hour over my time. But anyway, as I said, like 15 minutes ago, I thought like we have a nice rounding. Now we went deep again for everyone, and I just felt called because I listened to the Next Level Soul podcast as inspiration, also for future interviews. And he always asked, like, what is God for you? What how would you describe God now? You were a Roman Catholic, and you have like these experiences, these mystical experiences. What is God to you?
What is God to me? Look, I do believe there's a creator, because there's no way we would be in this simulation. I believe this is, well, not believe, I know from what I've seen, my experience, that everything had to have come from a creator, one source, Father Creator and Mother Nature. You know what I mean? They're all connected, and everything is connected. There's no wrong way to connect. And for me, God, like, I still I don't have any words for it really, because it's just amazing. Like I don't want to know. I don't want to say that we are gods as we maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't seen beyond the console or God soul. I call it the God soul because I've never seen any other dimensions except that void. I see a void when I connect, and then I state my affirmations, and then things happen. So I believe that also that we are tethered to think of it like a video game. Like I'm going to use a video game analogy because I can tell you a lot about simulations and what I've learned from creating them and how it works. We're here to experience and learn and live and figure out our paths, you know. So everything is on purpose for a purpose, not those guys are crooks or this conspiracy. No, it's there. But if you believe in it, or you dig deeper, you start understanding there's a deeper meaning behind everything, you know. And we have controllers like up there, and we're connected to a console, and we're playing. You are just the avatar from connected to your soul up there, and that's what I believe. Like I really believe that so much because of what I've seen. 100%. You think of the most simplest way. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you I think you answered it already, and I feel to ask you what is the purpose of life? It's just because of how you share the things. What is your purpose?
I'm going to use a video game analogy. We are here to play the game of life, and there's so many things out there for us to experience, about experience and learning, you know. And we've got all this the wheel of emotion, energy in motion. Maybe you could put a link to it so people can have a look and see what it is. I think it was called Petrov. I can't remember. So there's the wheel of emotion, and the wheel of emotion is used as a compass for your moral compass to navigate through everything. The words are there, moral compass. You know what I mean? So your emotion, your energy in motion, is governed by your moral compass to navigate through this reality. And me going to church, me living, or my soul coming into this reality, it's like selecting an avatar, because everything is already determined out there for you, you know. And you can shift into all these different realities because they're waves of reality for each thing. And when the wave collapses, it becomes the reality, you know. So that's the deja vu thing that I wanted to talk about. Like your deja vu is within these waves out there already. That's why you have them, because everything has happened and will happen depending on which route you go. And yeah, so video game, yeah, we are here to experience, live, have fun most of the time, because I feel like life is, people complicate things. Life is simple, you know. And obviously there are distortions, and there's all these other things for us to imagine. Playing a game that didn't have any levels or boss levels, or it was just easy the whole way. Imagine that. That'd be boring. You know what I mean? It'd be totally boring. I'd give it back. Like, nah, let me put in another game. So the different games are different dimensions, you know, and you just either reincarnation. I've seen my reincarnations. That's, maybe we can talk about that some other time. I've seen other me's, other realities.
Yeah, I mean,
it's video game. That's just the simplest way that I could put this whole thing out. And
I think I should have put 5 hours for this talk.
I think you should
just open another door.
You put like 10 hours because I can explain to you what I saw.
You put another door and another door.
Yeah,
but let's close it here. I mean, let's close it here, because otherwise, I mean, you open like 15 doors at least.
Yeah, and even paradoxes. It will explain. Yeah, you know, all these paradoxes the science can't prove.
Yeah, man. Whatever. There's so many. Yeah, you need to have the proof here, the proof there, and then like, yeah, but these people experience it. Yeah, but they don't have a proof, and there's not enough this. I'm like, okay, whatever. Some people need to have the mathematical, the physical proof. Some people need the experience. I think in the end, the proof for anyone is experiencing anything, right?
That's what it is. Experience and
right, like how to swim. You need to swim yourself.
Yeah.
How to swim and meet a big white shark. I mean, you have to have that experience yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, being outside your body, astral projection, whatever it is, if you don't have the
Yeah.
own experience, it's really hard to.
Yeah.
So where can people reach out to you? You said something about videographer, or what is it?
Yeah, I don't really have a YouTube channel or anything, but I mean, if people are really interested, I could create one and start posting maybe short clips on, you know, what we spoke about earlier, if there's a need be. Because I'm not like, the reason why I'm here is because I believe that I don't believe in coincidences, like I said, and I wanted, there's a lot of distortions out there, and for somebody like me that was trying to figure out what was happening to me, it was challenging. So I wanted to just try to help people and get rid of all these, you know, um, distortions, or you can't do this, you can't do that. No, you can do anything you want, and it's, you don't need anyone else there. You don't need to spend $2,000 to go and ask somebody to have an out of body experience, because I think that's like a going rate these days. I don't know, but people are very, like, I've reached out to many people in the industry out here, and I wanted to understand what was happening to me, what I saw outside through my meditations, and what, you know, to make sense of it. And I realized with time and trusting in the above, I started learning, and things just became a lot clearer to me, you know, and it just made sense who these guys are online. So that was, you know, like, I would love to speak with them one day, you know, and there's like a list. I spoke to you about it. I'm not going to mention them. So yeah.
Yeah, but so basically what it means, you don't really have a presence yet. You somehow felt drawn to one of my videos, an old video actually, which I haven't uploaded until November. It's like more than 3 years after I had the interview. I finally uploaded it for my podcast. It exploded. It's by far the most viewed and listened,
really?
even though on Spotify and Spotify and Apple Podcast, it got like 50 to 80 views or listenings, and then on YouTube suddenly it's just like got 4,500-5,000. For me, it's like,
wow,
by far, like no other video, even if it's uploaded on other podcast guests' YouTube channel, had that many. So, but you found me there, you reached out and you mentioned something, and I'm like, there's something interesting. So let's see what comes out of it. So people, if you made it that long, please leave a comment, request your own stories. Like, please comment as much, like if you had similar experiences. I would love to talk to you, or perhaps you want to talk to Colin and just share, like, how did you get there? What is your experience, right? Because you had the experience. It's much nicer if you have a similar experience to share, I think. And also, if you're curious about short how to do videos, like how to do this, how to do that, let's see if Colin is up to that. And I got called several times now, so I'm gonna have to make some callbacks before I'm going and hitting the bed. And I thank you so much for being here. This was like, I didn't know what I'm going for, a little bit, because we had a talk before on WhatsApp. But still, it was like, for me, it's like very pushing, because like I want to have the experiences, but I'm still so much in the head, so much in like how to do, where to go, step by step. And thank you so much, and thank you, listeners, for
thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Hopefully that we do the other ones another time and try to have some structure around them.
Not in the next 2 weeks, because I'm booked out. But we definitely, I mean, I just have to figure out how to get all these open-ended questions and doors from this talk.
Yes.
And thank you so much.
I hear you.
See you for another show.
You're welcome. Thank you, Oliver.